Excellent. So, welcome everyone to the official second MGE webinar.
Yes.
There'll be some other people popping up as we begin, but Glenn asked if we can dedicate our learning to a young girl who unfortunately is very sick. Her name is Libby Chava Leah Bas Sharona Rivka. I'll say it again, Libby Chava Leah Bas Sharona Rivka.
That's it.
We wish her a refuah shleima, and I also want to ask if we could also keep in mind my mother-in-law, Jill's mom, who unfortunately had to go back to the hospital. And her name is Masha Bas Gittel. So if you can keep in mind, that's all right. Glenn, what are you drinking, like coffee in the morning? What time is it there? You froze, Glenn. You froze. That's what you're also coming in. How long have to go?
The coffee is so much better in Australia than it is in the States. It's not even funny. Not even close. But it's good to see everyone.
Great to see you, Glenn. We just came back from Israel. You know, we had an amazing group.
Awesome.
We were 44 people all together, about 37 participants.
Wow.
Plus staff. And there were two different groups, the fellowship group and the heritage group. It was incredible. Really powerful.
Now, Glenn has the distinction of being on the very first fellowship group in 2008.
Yeah. Well, I'm about 76 years old now, right? I think.
100%.
Yeah, jeez, long time ago.
And Jen was I don't know, the second or third year.
At least the second, right?
What year was it? 2009 you came? When did you go, Jen? We're like, what are they, like a bunch of grandparents over here, Mark? What's going on?
I know. Wait, Jen, when did you go? Jen, when did you come with us?
You're muted.
You're muted for some reason.
2009.
All right, that was the second trip.
Yeah, second trip.
That was pretty good. Unbelievable.
Hey, Jen.
Hi.
Can you try? What do you want me to say? Just get him. I'm trying to get my other son in before we start, but okay, we'll just begin. Do you guys have the handout I sent?
I don't. I'm sorry, Rabbi.
Come into the dining room. Come on, we're starting. Everyone's waiting. Wait. So who just put it up there? Wait, Glenn, do you have it? Glenn, do you have the handout?
No, I'm sorry, Rabbi. I didn't have a chance.
Okay, it's okay. You'll follow along.
Yeah, please.
We're doing a little. I want to do a little discussion with you guys just about a way to prepare for the high holidays. You know, we're in Chodesh Elul now. It's a very, very holy and special month to get a little closer. Take us from the Chodesh Av, from the sadness, difficulty of the month of Av to Tishrei, which is the month of Tshuva. So we have this Elul, and I think a great way of preparing is by studying Laws of Repentance. Has anyone ever studied that before? Anyone familiar with it? That's what the handout is. Don't get intimidated. There's a lot of Hebrew on there. There's 2 pages. Do you guys have? Are you all frozen?
I'm still here.
Jen, do you have the second page?
Yeah, we have both.
Yeah, both. You have the Hebrew and the English. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're going to take a look on the very top. Take a look on the very, very top of the Hebrew. I'm going to do it in the Hebrew, but you can look at the English where it says 3. But the Hebrew is good because you pick up a lot of the nuances in the Rambam. Okay, Eric is back. Okay. By the way, is it sick hot in Florida? What's the deal?
No, it's great. Sorry to say. Hate to break the news to everybody. It'd be nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's very breezy.
It's nice. It was 100 degrees in Israel.
More.
But it was beautiful. Okay, so Al Tamar, a person should never say, She'ein tshuva, ela me'averos she'esh behen maseh. person should never think or say that there's only tshuva, there's only repentance from averos, from sins that involve what's a maseh. Did we lose
Physical act.
Glenn already? Good, a physical act. Glenn, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back. So
Okay.
I'm still here. I'm just trying to get the video again. But I hear
Yeah,
you.
that's okay.
Keep talking.
You shouldn't think that there's only tshuva from things that have a maseh. Glenn, it says that your internet is unstable.
Okay, let me work on that. Just keep talking. All right. I'll get tech support. I got him right next to me. I'll be right back. Just continue on. It's only about 10,000 miles away, you know.
Jan, Jan and Eric?
Yeah, sorry, we're losing our connection. Sorry.
I'm here. I can hear you. Mark left the meeting. That's a problem.
Okay, we're back on. Glenn, you there?
Yes, I am.
Glenn, you're on?
I'm on.
Eric?
Yeah, we're here.
Jen?
Yeah.
Hear him, and I hear Jen and Eric, but I don't see him.
We'll try redialing in, maybe.
Hello?
Clearly, this is an American problem.
Okay. It's not? I'm getting emails.
I can hear you.
Have you tried pressing Control F7?
I'm here.
What is that?
Okay, everybody do tshuva.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
No.
What time is it there, Glenn?
Oh, it's 11 o'clock on a Friday morning.
What day and
11
time, I
a.m.
think, is the question.
Friday. I'm calling you from the future. Ooh. It's Friday morning. Come on, Wild, still with the program.
This I get the cord.
Always the internet. You can try using this.
Should I just go into our room?
No, it's the internet. It's not anything we're doing.
Quitting?
Yeah, you have a little hills. At one of the many cafes that we have here.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. Can you see me? You
Yeah. What?
All right, I moved my whole computer thing into my son's room because I think the computer connection in my dining room is bad. I
You
apologize.
sound better now. You
I
sound
do.
better.
Okay, good. All right. All right, let's go back. So I apologize. So the Rambam says, Al Tomar she'ein tshuva ela ma'averet sheyesh b'masa. Never say that tshuva should only be done for activities. Like a masa means a behavior, an activity. Kigon, for example, zanut, which refers to sexual immorality. Gezel, what is gezel or geneva? You guys know what that is?
Theft.
Theft, or what's theft is geneva. What's gezel? Anybody know? What's the geneva and gezel? Gezel is robbery as opposed to theft. It's the same distinction in halacha as in secular law. What's the difference between theft and robbery?
One in secret versus kind of in broad daylight.
Very, very good. Which one is which? Eric, do you know?
Geneva is, I think, broad daylight, and Gazela is secret.
Like in secular law, gezel is armed usually, but it's in daylight, and it's actually in halacha considered worse theft because it's kind of denying God. Figured then there's no one watching, there's no one looking. But anyway, so the Rambam's saying that we shouldn't think that there's only tshuva from things like that, like znut or gezel or geneva. Ella, we're continuing to read. Sheshem shetzarech adam lashuv me'elu. Just like there is a requirement to do tshuva from those types of activities, kachu tzarech lechapes b'deot ra'ot. So too a person should also, what's lechapes means to look for, to explore. Deot ra'ot. Deah is a character trait. Ra'ot is what? What's ra?
Bad.
Bad, good, bad character traits. Sheyeshlo. So it's not only about, like the whole Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Elul is not simply about stopping bad behavior. It's also introspection into what? It's also introspection into character traits.
Society's bad behavior? Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it is society's, but, charity starts at home. You know what I mean? Starts with us.
But it's still it's still a personal journey. Right.
Sorry. Hold on. So, Now he gives a couple of examples. Lashuv min haka'as. Anybody know what ka'as is?
Anger.
Anger. Umin ha'eva. Eva is hatred. What's the difference between anger and hatred?
Hatred is like inward and anger is outward.
Wait, say that again. Speak louder.
I said like, hatred is like inward in your heart and anger is like expressed.
Very good. Very good. Anger is something that you're displaying on the outside. You're demonstrating. Very good. Whereas hatred is something that you're feeling internally. So both of those things are not good, and you're supposed to try to kind of look into that during this period of time. Also, min hakina. You know what kina is?
Jealousy.
Kina is jealousy. Umin hachitol. Now, chitol. What does the English say for chitol? Frivolity. Who can explain what frivolity is? Huh? What is it?
Taking light into serious.
Good. Frivolity is making everything into a joke, taking nothing serious. Now, we'll see in a minute that you're not supposed to walk around like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders either. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says you're supposed to be makabel et kol adam l'sever panim yafot. You're supposed to greet everybody with a favorable countenance. We just saw Rav Nebenzahl in Israel. And, he's just always... So anyway, so you're supposed to do tshuva from anger, from hatred, from anger, from frivolity. Look at the next one. Miridifas hamamon. Is there a cow participating here? Hello? What the heck was that? Glenn, where are you? Are you on a farm?
I'm just at a cafe in Surrey Hills.
Or what was that? A cow?
No,
like
no.
a cow on a motorcycle.
No, I think it was both actually. As a matter of fact, I'll try to move out of earshot a little bit.
That's okay. I mean, I'm telling you, it sounded like a cow on a motorcycle. All right. Anyway,
it's rather descriptive.
Okay, moving right along. Redifas hamamon means running after. What's mamon, guys? Money. Very good. You moving?
That's just why mentions it.
Right. V'hakavod. What's kavod? Kavod is honor. Running after money and honor. Umiredifas hamacholos, and running after food. Now, it clearly doesn't mean to say that you're not allowed to eat during this period of time. What does that mean, running after food? So, like, you hit your second kiddush on Shabbos, and you're still hungry, and then all of a sudden you hear that.
No, this is dairy or meat. This is meat.
Is that Ozzy?
Oh, hey guys.
Hi, Cutter.
Ozzy, how are you, man?
How's it going?
Good. We can't see you. Are you there?
What's up,
I'm not to be seen. I'm to be only heard.
You're like the Wizard of Oz. I hear
Hello,
that.
brother.
How are you? Welcome.
This is the Wizard of
Glenn,
Oz.
man, loved you,
Wizard of
buddy.
Oz.
Missed you, man.
What's up? Right back
Glenn
at you,
needs
Ozzy.
this.
Right
Glenn
back
needs
at you,
this
buddy.
cheer. Glenn, listen to this, baby.
Okay.
Don't listen to that guy on
okay, I
Facebook.
need a
Don't
lot of
listen to that
things,
guy on
but carry
Facebook
on.
that says there's no God.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I gave him a 1-2. Don't worry about it. Sorry, Rabbi.
Good.
Ozzy, Jen and Eric are on the call, and so is my son Ezra. He's learning with us as well. So say hi.
Hey, guys.
Okay, we're drumming. Do you have the handout before you?
No.
Okay, you're doing great. You showed up late, and you don't have the handout. I mean, if you were in school,
I got it. First of all, I've been on since Gezel, all right?
okay, good. How appropriate. All right, so just kidding. So we're saying that we're supposed to do tshuva not only from bad activities but also bad traits. Min hakol tzarich lachzor b'tshuva, says the Rambam. From all of these things, a person needs to do tshuva. Now listen, he says something really, really powerful here. The elu havonos kashim. These types of sins are harder me'otam sheyesh bahem maaseh. They're more difficult to do tshuva than doing tshuva from like gezel or theft or sexual immorality or things that have a kind of like a behavior. Tell me why. Why do you guys think the Rambam believes that these are harder things to do tshuva from than physical activities?
They're like character traits. They're things.
Yeah, good. They're character traits, Glenn, and therefore what?
They're ingrained.
Okay, good. Ezra just said the same thing you did.
Yeah.
They're ingrained.
There's no room for them here.
They're automatic sometimes.
Oh, what do you mean they're automatic? What was that, Eric?
I mean, like you see something happen, you get angry. You don't. It's just like something that like automatically happens. I guess because it's part of your character trait.
Okay, good. So you could say when it comes to a physical activity, like stealing, you have to like think about it a little. You may even have to plan it. But when it comes to, let's say, use your example, Eric, of anger, it's like something happens, it triggers it off. It's not like you even think. It's an involuntary response.
Right. Somebody cuts you off in the road.
Yeah.
You get angry.
And that's why I'm going to come back to anger in a minute, because I want to actually dwell on each of these things for a little, which is why one of the things that Torah wants us to do is not act automatically and involuntarily, but to start becoming a little more disciplined in the way we react emotionally to things. Right? And that's the only way we're going to be able to do tshuva from these things. Who? What did she say? Oh, Ezra is telling me that Jill always likes to share that. That the whole point of Judaism is to make us aware and conscious of things that we're not aware or conscious of. And when you bring those things to your forefront and you make yourself aware and conscious of things you're not, then you're really developing and refining yourself. Now, the Rambam elsewhere on the handout that you have, do you have the handout? I quoted the Rambam from Hilchos Deos. If you guys have any time to do some extra learning, Rambam wrote a whole treatise on personality development called Hilchos Deos. But there are different parts. Just listen. He talks about anger, for example. In Hilchos Deos, chapter 2, halacha 3, he relates, and I quote, anger. You want to read that, Jen? You have that before you?
Sure.
Yeah, read that.
Anger is a very bad quality, and a person should separate himself from it to the other extreme. The sages of the earlier generations declared, anyone who becomes angry is considered as if he worshipped idols.
Okay, and how do you explain that last statement? That's a Gemara that the Rambam's quoting. Anyone who gets angry is like he worshipped idols. How do you explain it? It's a very radical.
Oh no, because it's so easy to. Because it goes. It consumes you.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So you just and you get.
So the implication is that Hashem, that God is moral. Things are not quite right. So.
Wait, I missed the last thing. I got what Glenn said. What did you just say, Eric?
That it's also you're also implying it doesn't run the world. If you're angry, the way things are going.
So, my son just said that, Ezra just said, it's like worshiping yourself. Why? Because when you get angry, you're getting angry because you feel you're entitled to something. Right. So, you're saying that, right, Ezra's just saying it shouldn't be like this, and you're just assuming, oh, by the way, can you see that jersey in back of me? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that is? I'm sorry to, you want to just tell him what it is? That's, Shaq?
Yeah, it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal. That's Shaquille O'Neal's jersey. It's got his schwitz on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually someone bought it for my kids at the auction at MGE.
Ew.
Oh, I bought it. Nobody was bidding for it. It was very cheap. All right, going back. So repenting from anger. I want to mention one other thing based on what Glenn just said. Ozzy, you still with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. One of the reasons why I think the Gemara says that that anyone who gets angry is always worshiping idols is because something Glenn said, it kind of takes over you. And when you become angry, you actually become someone else. how many times we become angry and we're like ashamed about the way we behaved in that fit of anger. So I'm going to give you one little quick, and I gave a whole shiur about being, one of my friends is a rabbi, Rabbi Reichman gave a shiur, wrote a book on anger. But one of the things he do is he count, because anybody know why physically we get angry? Physiologically, we get angry for a reason.
That's fight or flight.
Very good. Fight or flight. Because your body is conditioning, is getting yourself ready to fight or flight, it is diverting blood. It diverts blood to other parts away from the brain. Less oxygen flows to the brain, and you are less rational, and you say stupid things. That's what happens. So one of the ways about it is to literally count to 10. You take a deep breath, take 10 deep breaths, and it actually can help. And if you're getting angry on an email, don't send the email yet. Always wait a little while before you press send. It really makes a big difference. Anyway, that's anger. Just a little thing about anger. Hatred, we know that there's a Torah prohibition the Rambam quotes in Hilchos Deos. You're not allowed to harbor hatred for a fellow Jew in your heart. Very difficult prohibition to refrain from. Now, what about the pursuit of money and honor? The pursuit of money and honor, the Rambam says, Jen, you want to read?
A person should not possess a greedy spirit, lusting after money. He should not have desiring all things or pursuing honor. Our leaders declare, envy, desire, and craving for honor drive a man.
Ozzy, can you hear?
I mean, a little bit. It goes in and out. But thanks for asking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me, so I'll read it again, because what Jen just read was from Hilchos Deos. The Rambam says a person should not possess a greedy spirit, lusting after money. You shouldn't be envious, desiring of all things, or pursuing honor. So honor is one of those things, if you run after it, it's not one of those things you can catch up on. Now, gluttony, interesting. What does it say about gluttony? It says a Torah scholar should not be a glutton, but rather only eat food which is necessary for the health of his body. So I'm not saying what happens at all these kiddishes, but, okay.
Why was I supposed to listen to that? Is this a hint?
No, I'm just want to make sure you hear it, that's all.
Okay.
I don't think they have that.
I do enjoy a good kiddish. It's true.
Everybody loves a good kiddish. The question is moderation. Last thing is frivolity. Now this is very important because I don't want to be misunderstood. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Deos, a person should not be characterized by laughter or frivolity. In lightheadedness, custom a person to lewdness, fine. But what's the opposite of frivolity? Being everything is a joke. What's the opposite extreme of that? That you shouldn't do either.
Everything's so serious. Everything. The way, as you said, the weight of the world.
The weight of the world. You're not supposed to walk around like looking like you're miserable either. There's supposed to be kind of a balance. Okay.
You hear that? You hear that, buddy?
You talking to me?
Oh, me?
No, I'm not talking to anyone. They understand that.
I'm even younger. Okay. By the way, I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story. Ozzy, we went to see Rav Nebenzahl. I think you heard that before.
I didn't hear what happened.
No, so whatever. I buy flowers for the last 10 years on 86 in Columbus, and when I went into the flower shop for the first time, Jen, do you know the story?
No, because Eric does that for me too when I was in New York.
Oh, did you go, Eric? Did you go to 86 in Columbus?
Yeah, flowers in the park.
Yeah, we bumped into each other once there. I remember. So I went in there, and he's an Israeli guy, not a religious guy, very lovely guy. And I'm always on my phone. When I'm Erev Shabbos, I'm rushing, and I came in there once, and he said, Rabbi, you should smile more. So I said, oh, you're right, I probably should. He goes, there's only one rabbi. Rabbis are always looking so serious. There's only one rabbi who I know who smiles. And I looked at him, because he's from Israel, and I said, Rav Nebenzahl? And he was like shocked. I was like, how do you know Rav Nebenzahl? He knew Rav Nebenzahl. Ozzy, how cool is that?
That's crazy.
Great story.
And I just brought Yehuda to get a bracha from him, and we brought the whole group from MJE, and he's like got the smile the whole time. Maybe I'll send you guys a picture. It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right, let's move on because I don't want to keep you guys all night. Look at Halacha Dalet. Any questions about hatred, pursuit of money, gluttony, or frivolity?
All bad, right?
They're all bad. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. This is supposed to be, these are just examples of personality traits. But I'll focus on one thing I just said, that the Rambam said before. These are harder to control. Rav Yisrael Misalant, the great ethicist, said it's easier to go through 100 pages of Talmud. He said it's easier to master 100 pages of Talmud than to change one midah in your personality. Now, that doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means it's harder. About Gaiva.
What does he say? It's easier. Say again. It's one whole page.
He says it's easier,
right? One whole page.
It's easier to master 100 pages
No,
of
100 pages.
100 pages of Gemara than it is
Gemara.
to change one midah in your personality. My son Ezra is asking a good question. Why does the Rambam not mention ego, like Gaiva, being egotistical, the opposite of which is humble? Because he discusses that a lot. This is not exhaustive. He's just throwing out things. I don't know. Why didn't he talk about the ego, like being arrogant? The Rambam speaks about
Arrogant.
You need some
In
ego
terms
in
of
your
trying
life.
to change something, you mean?
Yeah, how come he doesn't mention that?
I think if you're arrogant, you're
Need some
probably not
ego.
in a place where you can
You gotta have
focus on the
self-confidence.
rest of it.
No, you're supposed to have self-confidence, but there's a big difference between being arrogant and being confident. Well, Eric, what were you saying?
No, I was saying if you're arrogant, you're probably not the place where you're focusing on the rest of these things. You're not going to think that you have anything to improve.
No, it's such a broad thing that if you're arrogant, it affects all those other things. Yeah. Come on, listen, share this. Ezra just came back from NCSY Kollel, and he got to learn with Rabbi Twersky, and Rabbi Twersky said the following.
Oh, wow.
That if there's like he went through every single like character trait and talked about how there's arrogance like involved in everything. Pretty much.
In other words, that arrogance, Eric, was this what you were saying? That arrogance somehow is connected to all of these negative character traits.
I wasn't saying that. I was saying if you're arrogant, then you're probably not even at the place where you can start working on the rest of them, because your arrogance is going to prevent you from going, there's something wrong with me.
So Ozzy and my teacher, Rav Bina, always said that he could not teach guys in the yeshiva if they had big egos. He said he would spend the first couple of weeks of the yeshiva trying to break their egos before he could teach them any Torah. Because the ego, he says, and he has a very high voice, you've heard me imitate him before, as when you have a big ego, as there's no room for God. That's what he always used to say. There's just, so that might be why he doesn't mention it. Okay, go to halacha daled now, next paragraph, because I want to hit the next two halachos. Ve'al yidameh adam bal tshuva. Take a look, halacha daled. This is a really amazing. Ozzy, gonna love this halacha. Ve'al yidameh adam bal tshuva shu murchak mimalat tzadikim. A person who's a bal tshuva should never view himself as though he's very different, very distant from the spiritual level of a tzaddik, of a righteous person. Mipnei avonot v'achatot she'asa, because of all the sins and transgressions that this bal tshuva used to be involved in. Ein hadavar kain. The matter is not so. Ela ahu v'nechmadhu lifnei borei ki'ilu lo chata me'olam. You hear what he says? This bal tshuva, he says, is loved and special in the eyes of the Creator, as though he had never sinned forever. V'lo od, and furthermore, ela shistcharo harbe, that his reward is great. Sharei tam tamachet. Why is his reward great? Because he has tasted the taste of sin. Uparash mimenu, and he separated himself. B'kavash yitzro, and he suppressed his inclination. Amru chachamim, our sages taught, Malkam shabali tshuva omdim, a place where Baal tshuva stands. Ein tzaddikim gemurim yichol ma'mobo. Even the greatest tzaddik cannot stand. Klomar, in other words, malatam gedolat mimalot elu, spiritual level of a Baal tshuva is considered greater from those shelo chatum olam that never sinned in their lives. I mean, everybody's sinned some level, but who sin less, because they suppress their inclinations more. The more you suppress your inclination, the greater of a tzaddik you are. And who suppresses his or her inclinations more than a Baal Tshuva? Someone who is living a different life. So the Rambam is saying that you should never imagine that a Baal Tshuva can never sort of play catch up. They're never going to get there. Actually, it's the other way around. The Baal Tshuva, by virtue of having been involved in all of this other type of lifestyle, because they've reformed themselves, so to speak, because they've done so much tshuva, they are considered to be on a higher spiritual level than someone who didn't have those same challenges, who didn't have to resist their temptations in the way that a Baal Tshuva had to. What do you guys think?
But if a Baal Tshuva takes a fall, well, what happens if the Baal Tshuva takes a fall afterwards? Then he's back on equal footing with everyone else, I guess.
Not necessarily. I mean, he needs to rectify.
Not necessarily.
To try to rectify it, but he's still at an earlier point got to a higher spiritual place, and he had to overcome certain temptations, that the tzaddik, the individual that didn't grow up like that didn't face.
I like that.
It's a beautiful idea. Any other comments about that?
Rabbi, I've got to shuffle off. I've got a job interview, guys. It's so great to see everyone again. And just please keep in mind that little girl's name.
You got it.
Hey, keep in mind that little girl. I know her well. I know her family. Let's just get this kid back on track.
Amen.
Thanks so much, Rabbi.
Unfortunately, Glenn, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Be well.
Now, Ezra's asking, what does the term Baal Tshuva really refer to? We use that term to refer to people that weren't religious and become religious. Baal Tshuva is really anyone who somehow, does tshuva from any problem.
And Tzaddikim Kimurim did tshuva too.
Right. He's saying it's tzaddik, right? But he's here in this particular halacha. He's clearly referring to someone who
hasn't sinned.
Yeah, someone who's like a very, very high spiritual level versus someone who was very involved in chait. Take a look at the last halacha now. You guys with me? Okay. Balei tshuva. Ozzy, you still with us? Ozzy? Did we lose him? I'm going to call him in this thing. All right. Balei tshuva. Balei tshuva darkam liyot shvalim vanavim biyoter. A Baal tshuva is their way is for them to be, what's shafal? The English says to be very humble and very modest. Im cherfu otam. Ozzy, you there? Hello? Im cherfu otam askilim b'masem harishonim. Now, what happens if someone comes over to a Baal tshuva and tries to shame them? And the Rambam calls that person a fool. Ksilim, a ksil is a fool. If a fool comes over and starts making fun of a Baal tshuva, reminding that Baal tshuva of their early ways, v'amru lahem, and says to them, Emesh, yesterday, hayita osakach v'kach. I remember you used to do this and that. The Emesh, and I remember yesterday, hayita omer kach v'kach. You used to say this and that. Al yargishu lahem. What does that mean, al yargishu lahem? You shouldn't pay attention to them. You shouldn't feel any of this. Ela shomim usmechem v'yodim shazu zechut lahem. But what should you do? You should listen and be happy, and the knowledge that this is your zechut. What does that mean, this is your zechut? How do you understand that? Because think about it for a minute. If somebody comes over and says, oh yeah, you think you're such a holy roller. I remember back in college when you used to blah, blah, blah. Right? But you know what they're doing actually? They're only describing how far you've come. Now, I know that's not their intention, but that's the way you should be makabelit, the Rambam is saying. That's why it's your zechut. Shekol zman shehem boshim. He gives a little bit different says. He says, Shekol zman shehem boshim imaseim, she'avru v'nechlamim mehem, because as long as a person is embarrassed of those activities. Zechuta meruba, his zechut, his merit is increased. Umalata mitgadelet, and his spiritual level is increased. So he's saying that you shouldn't take it so seriously. I mean, you shouldn't allow it to upset you, because that person is just pointing out how far you've come, and it allows you to kind of reflect on where you've come and how you're feeling badly perhaps about those previous activities, and look where you are now. But Rambam now turns his attention to the Baal Tshuva, the person who's doing this ridicule. The Chet Gamor. You have it? Take a look. The Chet Gamor hu lomar leBaal Tshuva. He says it's an absolute sin to say to a Baal Tshuva, Zechor Masecha Harishonim. Remember your early ways. Ola Haskirim Lefanav Kedei Lebaisho. Or to mention these activities in their presence in order to be mavayish, in order to embarrass them. Or, like, they're a little more subtle. They don't say, I remember when you used to do this, that, and that in college, but they tell a little story that triggers off that memory, and they do it on purpose, to remind the person what they did. Hakol asur, says the Rambam. They're all forbidden. Musar Allah b'chlal u'nos dvarim. The Rambam says, the Torah warns us against this within the rubric of the prohibition of Honos Dvarim. I don't know if you've ever heard of Honos Dvarim, verbal abuse. It's a prohibition in the Torah to say offensive, insulting, or embarrassing things to someone. Shisira Torah Leah, because the Torah says, Velosanu ishas amito. You shall not oppress one man, his neighbor. So I think that's a very, very interesting thing. I wanted to share those two halachot because as we get closer to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, you want to think about not just where we went wrong, but what are the zechuses that we have? What are the merits that we have? And particularly for MG alumni participating on this call, or in general, coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu during Elul Zman or Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, really, there's a tremendous zechut. And we need to remember that we have a tremendous kind of merit and basis to be able to feel confident that God is going to be reasonable, if you will, with us because of the kind of changes that we've made in our life. And anyone who tries to make us feel less than, positive about those changes, obviously they're doing the wrong thing, but that should only make us feel that much more confident about the kind of changes that we've made in our life. Just think it's a very, very powerful Rambam there. What do you guys think of that last halacha that we just learned?
I mean, he's not
Loud. Yeah. What are we going to share?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
No, because we were talking about anger and hatred, before. I don't know if this connected, as about Tshuva, and they were saying how, if you receive a comment that you don't experience hatred or anger towards that other person, you see it in a different way. So it's nice that you said it that way, to say it positively instead of experiencing the anger, the hatred that you're talking about before. I don't know if they're connected, the Baal Tshuva thing with what we were talking about.
I don't know if they were connected. The Rambam over there was talking about just the idea that this period of time has to be used to reflect not only on activities that are wrongful, but also midot, ra'ot, and bad personality traits, one of which is anger and hatred. You're saying maybe there's some connection between that and the kind of activity that is being displayed against the Baal Tshuva?
And maybe you could say.
Well, I think she's saying in the response, because the Rambam starts off by saying that the way of the Baal Tshuva is to be more humble, and like once they've gone through that, they're already starting off kind of more humble about this, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're not experiencing those other emotions. I think is what Jen is saying. They're not experiencing. As somebody just said, remember we used to have ham and cheese sandwiches. The guy's not like, Baal was not like slapping him in the face and saying, "You jerk, I hate your guts," right? Apparently they're kind of more humble about it, more inward, more thoughtful about it. So
And
It's also like,
yeah. No, go
I think
ahead.
it's also a good way for to like handle it, like just to see it in a different way. Like because everyone here has anger sometimes, but just a different way of seeing it respond instead of being angry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think also sometimes, it's interesting that term Baal Tshuva usually refers to someone who wasn't Shomer Shabbat and now is Shomer Shabbat. Didn't keep kosher, now is keeping kosher. It's something, Eric, you just said before. Are we making the assumption that someone who became a Baal Tshuva is more refined personality-wise too? They get angry less often. They're more modest. They're more refined as people.
That's a Baal Tshuva and
well, you had to go through that process. Right? You had to go through the process in Gimel, otherwise you wouldn't have become a Baal Tshuva.
That's interesting, right? But I'm just saying the way we kind of throw that term around today, it doesn't necessarily come to, refer to someone whose personality traits have become more refined.
Right.
It usually comes to refer to someone who's become more observant. In the rituals of
should be the same thing, though.
It's supposed to be. That's, I think, one of the points the Rambam's making.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. A Baal Tshuva is not simply someone who didn't keep Shabbos and now does, who didn't keep kosher now does, who follows the laws of family purity, wouldn't have otherwise. If the person's personality hasn't been, somehow perfected, not perfect, but made better, then, can we call that person a Baal Tshuva, really?
That's the harder part, though.
That's the harder part.
Well, the Rambam called what we call Baal Tshuva is kind of what the Rambam calls was it Tinux and Mishpat, or like somebody that they never knew in the first place, and then they kind of came back. Right.
Right.
He doesn't really call that a Baal Tshuva.
No, a Tinok Shenishba is a term from the Talmud that we use to refer to someone who was so sort of raised in a way that they can't be held responsible for, let's say, not keeping Shabbos, right? Because their parents didn't raise them to keep Shabbos. Nobody around them kept Shabbos. So they're like a Tinok Shenishba. You know what it means technically? A Tinok.
Like a child that was kidnapped, right?
Right. Tinok Shenishba ben Hagoyim. Like a child that was kidnapped and raised amongst the heathens, the non-Jews. So it's like a term, but it's a term classically used to help understand halachically why we think God goes easy, if you will, on someone who didn't have the background. It can't be held responsible for. Today, by the way, most it used to be that when someone didn't keep Shabbos and someone didn't keep kosher, they looked at him as a rebel. Today, nobody uses those terms anymore. They're viewed as a Tinok Shenishba. You're not supposed to give someone who flagrantly violates the Shabbos an aliyah in shul. So how do you give aliyah to people? Almost all Orthodox synagogues give aliyah to people who are not necessarily Shomer Shabbat. What's the basis for that? Because we say that they're not rebelling against Judaism. They weren't raised with Judaism. So they're doing it really more out of ignorance than as some form of rebellion against Torah, against Judaism. And therefore we allow them to have an aliyah. So that's a very, very important term, actually.
That's what we call Baal Tshuva, right?
I missed that. Say that again?
I'm saying like in the outreach world, that's what you call a Baal Tshuva. Someone was there and then came back. I think the Rambam calls it Baal Tshuva somebody that knew what they were doing, right? And they were wrong. They decided, I'm going to start doing these negative things. And you kind of knew better.
It could be both.
There's a common thread.
Yeah, I think the way the Rambam's using the term Baal Tshuva, it could also be referring to someone who's been religious their whole life, but messed up in this area of Torah, and is now becoming a Baal Tshuva in that area of Torah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it could be the same thing in terms of personality. Someone could be a very quote-unquote religious Jew, keep Shabbos, follow all the halachos, but be, mean-spirited to his wife. You know what I mean? And then he begins, maybe through some therapy or a good friend, he realizes and he needs to start being more refined and sensitive, and he starts getting better. I think the Rambam would call such a person a Baal Tshuva.
Right.
So it's not simply, it's the term we throw around today, referring to people who were not knowledgeable, not raised in observance, and then eventually became. But it could be a chassid from Borough Park who was doing something inappropriate in one area of his life and then starts making good on it. And does tshuva in that area, that person's a Baal Tshuva too. That's why we're all supposed to be Baalei Tshuva at the end of the day. There's a famous story with a guy who's going for shidduch, and he goes to the Rosh Yeshiva, and he says, Rebbe, I found a girl, but there's only one problem. And he says, what? He says, she's a Baal Tshuva. So he laughs and says, what's the problem? We should all be Baalei Tshuva. That's the greatest thing in the world. And you saw what the Rambam said in Halacha Daled on the handout, that a Baal Tshuva should never think that individual is on a lower spiritual level. In fact, it's just the opposite. Since that person had to resist more temptation and tasted sin and somehow separated and suppressed their inclination, that person is considered on a higher spiritual level than the tzaddik.
I don't know if it's controversial.
You're breaking up there. Say that again?
I don't know if this question is controversial, but I was thinking of what's the difference between, and I know there's a difference between a convert and a Baal Tshuva, their journeys. How is it different?
So I think practically they're very similar, other than the fact that the Baal Tshuva who's been Jewish their whole life maybe feels a little more at home just because sort of tribally that person's Jewish and they're not converting into another religion, into another nationality. And a person who converts to Judaism is. But the process is very, very similar.
Technical process, isn't it?
What's that?
Technical process.
Now, as Ezra's pointing out, technically, a Baal Tshuva never has to dunk in a mikveh or get a bris milah or accept Torah officially before a Beit Din of Jewish court of 3 rabbis. And a convert to Judaism has to go through all those 3 things. In the case of a woman, just 2, accepting the mitzvot and immersing in the mikveh. A Baal Tshuva doesn't have to do that ever. A Baal Tshuva is Jewish already. But in my work with both Baalei Tshuva and converts, I find that there's a very similar kind of journey that both individuals are going on. I think it's more of a dramatic journey probably for the convert, because as I say before, you're not just joining a religion, you're also joining a people. And I think most Baal Tshuvas feel part of the Jewish people, even if they're not observant, even if they don't feel like they love Judaism so much, they consider themselves a Jew. And they're part of the Jewish people. A convert to Judaism, you know what we call them when they convert? When they get called up to the Torah, what do we call a man? A man is Ben Avraham, and a woman is Bat Sarah, because they are technically not their biological parents' children anymore. Now, that doesn't mean they can't have anything to do with them and they can't spend any time, but technically, they have joined another people. So the Baal Tshuva doesn't have to go through that kind of existential crisis. I think the convert to Judaism does. But I would say that every person, whether you're a Baal Tshuva, every Jew should have a relationship with someone who's converted to Judaism, because there's nothing like a Ger Tzedek, like a really authentic convert, to really sort of shake it up and realize how special Judaism is, because they gave up a whole different kind of lifestyle and left a different ethnicity, if you will, and joined. Torah is not just a religion, it's a peoplehood. So they're becoming somebody else, But there are a lot of similarities also.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Guys, are you going to be, Rosh Hashanah, are you going to be with us?
Yeah.
We got the
We're still on recording, by the way.
What's that?
We're still on recording.
Oh. How do we turn off the recording?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's a good lesson for Rosh Hashanah. Everything is recorded.
Right. Everything is recorded. Very good. I like that. So we look forward to having you guys over.
Yeah, we're going to be at MD for Rosh Hashanah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really, really great.
Yeah, we miss it. We miss MD so much.
Well, the feeling is very mutual. We miss you guys as
Funny,
well.
Rabbi, I'll tell you this. For some reason today, in the Shemona Esrei, that term Ger Tzedek, we say in
Va'al Gerei HaTzedek, yeah, Va'aleinu, yeah.
Yeah, I was sticking in my head to finish that term.
Wait, say that again?
So for whatever reason, that phrase of Ger Tzedek was in my head today. So I was just saying it was interesting for me that you kind of finished on that term.
Ger Tzedek. Everybody should have one Ger Tzedek in their life. I'm telling you. Big deal. Because they remind us of who we are and the privilege of being Jewish that we often take for granted. Everything's in the Shemona Esrei. I'm learning with Ezra a little safer on the Shemona Esrei. It's great stuff on that. Maybe we'll do that another year.
Well, you kind of want to hear that.
We should. Ozzy's been listening in the whole time, by the way, on this.
Okay.
All right. We're going to finish up. Eric, do you have another question? Ozzy?
No?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little tangent, but I wanted to know if you had a good Dvar Torah on a Nila Dodi Dodi Lee.
I have a beautiful Dvar Torah on Nila Dodi
Whether
Dodi.
or not God is God our friend.
Whether God is what? Say that again?
I was just talking about Targan sharing.
Elul is God, like we have a different relationship with God in Elul than we do with Tishrei.
Yes. Elul is a time. Anybody know why Elul is such a time for intimacy and closeness with Hashem? What happened on Rosh Chodesh Elul?
God is in the
Brought
field.
down the glucose.
Yeah.
First glucose.
What's that?
That was the
Shall.
God is in the field.
Second one's where we don't care about.
Right. The first set of luchos, actually, the significance is the second set. It was Rosh Chodesh Elul that God told Moshe to come up to Har Sinai for the second set of luchot, which is a way of saying that Elul is a time for second chances. It's a time when Hashem has demonstrated that He's interested in remaining close to us, even though we've been distant. And I think Tisha B'Av, which is Chodesh Av, is the month of distance, and then Elul is an expression of God's interest in being close once again with us. It's a beautiful idea.
Rabbi Targan talked about it.
Say, please, loudly.
I listened to like a Rabbi Targan shir thing on YU Torah on Elul. So he said that there's another pasuk also in Shir Shir where Anila Dodi V'Dodi Li is taken from that Dodi Li V'Ani Lo, I think. That like my beloved is for me, and I'm for him. I'm for her. Which is kind of like, but we don't use that pasuk because Elul is us initiating, us initiating to God, and then God
Responding.
reciprocates back. But then that pasuk would be just God giving to us, and then we reciprocate back. But like we
started, we initiated. Oh, Ani Dodi.
Yeah.
And God is the Dod?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. We are the ones who are initiating. You guys know that phrase? It's an acronym. Elul, Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed. Anila Dodi, Dodi Li. I'm speaking this Shabbos. You're going to have to listen to this twice. But I'm speaking the Shabbos about the backwards. Ozzy, you with me still? Keeps dropping. Ozzy?
Yes, I'm very much with you.
Oh, so if you spell Elul backwards, what do you get? Lamed, Vav, Lamed, Aleph. You know what it spells? Lule. You know what lule is? Lu means if only, lo, not, if only not. Lule, this is a word I heard from Rabbi Eitan Meir years ago, and I'm developing a sermon based on it. Lule is like what we often do all year round. We say, if only this, if only that, if only that, if only this, if I wasn't this, if I wasn't that. We live like in this if only life. And Elul comes and says it's just the opposite. You've got exactly what you need to be able to be successful in life. Elul is the opposite of Lule. Lule is the if only kind of existence. Whereas Elul is telling us that you got to live in the here and now. You have to embrace your reality and stop imagining that life could be so much better if only. If only I looked like that, everybody would like me more. If only I was smarter, I would be more successful at my work. If only this, if only that. Elul says, embrace your reality as you have it today. And I'm speaking about some of the things I experienced in Israel because I think Israelis are better at this. Israel, yeah, you know that Israel, they do I can send you guys this. I'm still writing it, but maybe tomorrow I'll send it out. Israel is number 11. There are 156 countries that are subject to this happiness study. And the top 20 countries, they analyze them, but Israel is number 11 on quality of life and happiness.
What was number 1?
America's 15, which means people in Israel are happier than the United States. How do you explain that? And I think it has to do with the fact that people accept and embrace their reality. And you get that when you talk to soldiers who are not questioning. And there's also a vort in Parsha Shoftim in this week's Parsha that I think is connected to that as well. I'll send that out to you guys. Bli Neder tomorrow.
Thank you.
Who's number 1?
Switzerland is number 1, by the way. Don't ask me why. Anyway, great learning, guys.
Thank you so much. See you
My pleasure. Baruch Tia. By the way, check my website if you want to read my blog from the trip to Israel. There's some interesting stuff that we experienced there if you want to check it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for joining on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
And good luck with the rest of Elul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Ozzy, I'm signing off.
Okay.
Be good, man. Eric, take care. Jen, be good.
Thanks.
Amen. Bli Neder.